Let's get your initial reaction to the good meeting yesterday and China's reaction.
Look, I think it sends a very strong signal that the United States stands with our ally Taiwan, that we want to continue our bilateral relationship. And it does warn China not to be doing the same thing that Russia is doing, right? I think one of the things that could have prevented the attack from Russia was had we gotten the military equipment earlier, as so many of us had called for. There was that delay from this administration, which led to, I think, something that could have been prevented. But we believe there's three ways that you can really help Taiwan at this moment. One is they've purchased military equipment from the United States, right? They are waiting for fighter jets. They are waiting for ballistic systems. They are waiting for these types of defense systems for us to be sending them there. They've already paid for a lot of it. We need to get them this equipment as soon as possible. That's number one. Number two, market access, right? We have a strong bilateral trade. They're one of our biggest trade partners in the top 10. By giving them new market access, that's another way we could support them, because a lot of their economics does depend, unfortunately, on communist China. Yeah. Well, and the third thing is actually just a bilateral trade policy that doesn't double tax Taiwanese investment in the United States.
Two things here. Jonathan Ward is a U.S.-Chinese scholar, and he has this soundbite here that I think explains it very well. Listen to the top portion of this comment here.
Taiwan is the Berlin of the new Cold War. It's a place where much of the contest may play out. And ideally, we're going to be able to maintain deterrence. That's the importance of the situation we're in now. I don't think that means scaling back our diplomatic engagement with Taiwan, but I do think it means increasing our military, presence in the region.
The whole idea about Berlin really characterizes it in a way that I think could be appropriate at some point, if not already. There are 12 countries that recognize Taiwan, and it's not an impressive list. It's St. Lucia, it's Paraguay, it's Palau, which is in the South Pacific, Nauru, the Marshall Islands, Haiti, Guatemala, Belize. The U.S. obviously not on that list, but without us, they got no one on this planet.
And I agree that, one of the things that was disheartening is when I heard from the Taiwanese ambassador that the president could not come to the United States. He could not come to Washington. They were in the United States and met with Leader McCarthy in California, but the fact that they were not welcomed to Washington by President Biden, I think that was a shame. And again, there are ways that we can support. Doesn't need to be military action, but certainly at least getting them this equipment, having a tax policy that befriends them and supports investment here from their country so they don't have to rely on China for trade as well. Those are the ways that we can help them. And I think it's important because it's not just about Taiwan, right? Communist China is a major threat to the world. When you look at what they're doing in terms of building at various countries' ports, the way that they are having what they renamed them, Confucius Institutes at our U.S. institutions, our universities, the way they are attempting to purchase farmland, put CCP police stations in our cities. Those are things that the Republican Party is working to stop. And so it's time for the Democrats to join us. Donald Trump and climate change are not the biggest threats that the United States face. It's time to actually be real about the seriousness that China poses, particularly the fact that we rely on them for pharmaceuticals, for tech, for so many important things that we cannot function without. We need to stop that reliance on China and work with allies like Taiwan, like Poland, like-minded countries where we share values, and bring our supply chain home where we can, and then near shore and what I would call friend shore in other parts of the world where we can.
Could we get a comment